Hey, everybody. So I'm pretty excited to share this. Um, this is a process I've been taking myself through lately as well. And I think it's going to be really useful and really empowering for any of you who are either in a place where you feel like your income, your visibility, your client attraction has become stagnant, or you're hitting some kind of upper ceiling, or maybe you're even feeling like it's not working. What you used to do is no longer working, and you're feeling blocked and stuck, and maybe even starting to have some of that self doubt that's coming up. If this is you, this is going to be super powerful for you. It's also going to be powerful if you're just simply ready to break through to that next level. Like your business going great, it is working, what you're doing is working, but you're ready for that next, you're ready to make your current ceiling your new floor, essentially. So, as purpose driven entrepreneurs, as leaders, we all at some point or another struggle with self doubt, struggle with feeling stuck. Um, it's just who we are. It's just part of being human. It's part of being an entrepreneur. And so, in some ways, we all have seasons. There are seasons in our business of expansion, there are seasons in ourselves, in our identity of expansion, and there's also seasons of contraction, seasons where things feel harder, when we don't feel quite as open, when we don't have quite as much confidence as we would like to have. It's part of the process of growth. And the trick is always kind of finding the fastest way to get out of our own inner limitation, to get out of that sense of contraction, either whether that contraction is internal or external, and to get back in flow. Get back in that flow, get back in building that momentum. Um, and to do that with as much ease, simplicity, and speed as possible. So, today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you three secrets, three things that you want to focus on that are primary to creating exponential growth and extraordinary results in your life, in your business, even if you've been stuck, even if you're struggling, even if you're experiencing a dip or a decrease in your business. And they're also going to be super helpful if you're ready to break through that into that next level in your life, in your business. These are three focuses that I use and that I will teach my clients when I can feel that I'm in the cusp of something new, or something new is wanting to happen, but I'm not quite letting it happen. So these three secrets, these 3 points of focus are expansion, expression, and execution. I've often referred to those as the 3X factors to creating explosive success. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with expansion because it's my favorite topic, as you know. And it's also kind of the core of everything we create. It's the foundation upon which achieving and receiving is built. Your level of expansion literally defines your capacity to create, to hold, to replicate, to grow the results that you desire, um, because you are the container. So you can only create, receive, and hold as big as you are. So the other two, expression and execution, are essentially built upon expansion. You can't become self expressed, or you can execute powerfully the strategies that you have if your nervous system is in contraction, if your brain is anchored in lack and limitation, if your biochemistry, aka your mood, your state, your feelings, are anchored in scarcity and in fear, and if your energy is blocked. So expansion kind of like allows the other two to literally ripple out and emerge out of that expansion and create those extraordinary results. So being in an expanded state is foundational It is the most important thing you can do because, as you've heard me say, people do not buy what you're selling. They buy the expansion they sense in you and the expansion they sense is possible for them by working with you. That being said, expansion all on its own is not enough. Like having your identity anchored in expansion is the beginning. It's the beginning of the journey, but it's not the end of the journey. It's not enough to create the results you want. You need these two other pieces of the puzzle that are extremely important. The first is you need to become self-expressed so that you're no longer hiding. You are becoming fearless and unleashed in your own messaging, in the highest level work that you're sharing, in how you show up. And through that, your message becomes very clear and very compelling to your ideal client. So when in the expression piece of this training, I'm going to talk to you about two different areas of expression that you need to unleash and focus on to create these extraordinary results. Then we're going to talk about execution, which is the final piece of this puzzle. And it's really important to creating that continuous growth and being able to replicate and grow the results that you want. So you have to be able to execute the strategies, the processes, the practices powerfully and consistently so that you can create the results. Execution is almost the thing that collapses time and space. It's the thing that allows you to really start receiving the results you want. When we're talking about execution, I'm going to talk about two different types of execution that you need to focus on to really make continuous progress and to build that momentum. And execution is what we do. It's what essentially creates mastery, and it's what allows us to make what used to feel hard finally simple and easeful. It's also what we use to build that momentum so that what used to be our ceiling now becomes our floor, and we have a brand new like jumping board essentially. Execution is what allows you to not only create these amazing results, but also become recession proof and build the kind of momentum that is going to serve you long term no matter what, which is what we all want. So today we're going to focus on all three, which is kind of the full journey of exploding your results, creating that continuous growth, and doing that in a way that's really easeful and deeply fulfilling. And my sense is that you will get a lot of value from this training, and that if you follow the few things in there, it will make a massive difference in the kind of results you're creating, both in your life and in your business. So before I do that, I'm going to introduce myself in case you're new to me. And then I'm going to share with you a couple different ways that you and I can work together and kind of go deeper in your own expansion, like so that you can move past those limits, those upper ceilings, and you can break free of whatever is sabotaging your growth and keeping you from that next level that you know you're aligned for. So if you don't know me, hi, my name is Ilsa. Feel free to say hi to me. I will come back and say hi back. I love to connect with people, and it's always really great for the algorithm, helping me get more eyeballs on this content. Personally, I'm a total bookworm. I'm a spiritual nerd. I'm a dancer. I'm a dog lover. That tends to be, I'm a nature lover too. Love to spend time outside. Professionally, over the last 20 years or so, I've worked as a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, and a strategist for service-based entrepreneurs and leaders. Essentially, I help my clients rewire their nervous system, their brains, their energy, their businesses, so that they can create consistent results and double, triple, even quadruple not only their leadership, but also their receivership from a place of ease and joy. For me, all the work that I do is focused on both emotional freedom and financial freedom. Freedom is my highest value. And for me, when you have the right tools, the right strategies, the right identity shifting, paradigm shifting practices to create both of these kinds of freedom, the emotional freedom and the financial freedom, you are truly free. And that's my desire. That's my wish for every single one of you, and definitely for my client, is to have the freedom that we all long for. So I'm going to go into more details on how to work together at the end of this training. I don't want to take a whole lot of time with that. But essentially, I'm opening 2 spots in my Luminescence program. This is a deep dive 6 months journey with me one-on-one into really becoming fully unleashed, fully unbound, unlocking not only your nervous system and your business, but the results that you desire. And it includes everything. It includes deep dive nervous system work. It includes brain training. It includes shifting your biochemistry, upgrading your energy and your vitality. It includes strategy work and ongoing custom support to execute all the strategies in a way that feels really aligned and really satisfying. And so if you want to know more about that, I'm happy to get on a 20-25 minute enrollment call and kind of go over it with you, make sure it is the right fit, answer all your questions. And if it isn't the right fit, then see which of my other programs. I got essentially 3 programs, 3 ways to work with me at different level of support and commitment. So that's one way for us to get started, is for you to jump on a 25-minute call with me and let's check out which of my programs is best suited for you, or let's move forward in my Luminescence. I only have about 5 spots in that available at a time just because it's really high touch. So I'm opening 2, essentially 2 more. When they're gone, they're gone. And if you're new to me, the other way you and I can start working together is for you to simply book my Wired for Wealth 90-minute intensive. It's one-on-one, 90 minutes together. And it's 55% off if you've never had a session with me. This is a great way to get a sense of how deep the work I do is and how I work, and make sure that you want to do more work with me. So same thing, there's a link for that in the description of this video. It'll give you more details in terms of what we do in this intensive and the price. So feel free to click on that as well. All right, so let's get started. Here's the thing. When you marry expansion, expression, and execution, there's like this sort of magic that happens that allows momentum to start to build and pick up and expand. It's almost like doors start to open that you hadn't seen there before, and the flow is restored. Your own internal flow, like your life force, your confidence, your clarity, your empowerment, and also the external flow is restored. The external flow of creating deeply satisfying and sustainable results, of seeing what you're doing actually start to work and create that momentum, create that growth that you've been looking for. So we're going to start with expansion because, as I said, it's the foundation. Without it, you can't succeed or do the other 2. You can't do the expression, you can't do the execution. A huge amount of the work I do with clients prior to ever working with strategy is literally helping my clients anchor their identity, their sense of self, their being in expansion. So it's almost like you're not expanding, you become expansion. And when you're able to do that, you start to rewire yourself for easeful growth, for feeling deeply safe, being seen in your authority, in your power. And you start to rewire yourself for money, for receivership, for more of everything you desire. And you're doing all of that from a place of peace. That is the power of expansion. Essentially, having everything you desire from this deep sense of peace and groundedness. When I talk about expansion, I'm talking about focusing on basically becoming the kind of extraordinary leader that you need to be, the kind of leader that has the nervous system capacity, the brain wiring, the elevated and upgraded energy that you need to create and hold said results. For me, expansion is the art and the practice of becoming the version of you who is able to show up powerfully and get out of their own way over and over and over. Because you're so committed to the vision you have, you're so committed to the legacy you want to create, you're so committed to changing the world, to becoming the highest version of yourself, that essentially that commitment is what moves you through every little wobble, every time you contract, every time you start to sabotage, doubt yourself, procrastinate. Which is why expansion actually requires that you focus on you. Because your presence, and I say presence with a big P, your presence defines both your productivity, what you're able to do and accomplish and hold, and your profits. It defines how much you allow yourself to receive. Self-doubt is what kills presence. Self-doubt is what actually creates self-sabotage, because something in us doesn't feel good enough, doesn't feel worthy, doesn't feel capable or able to hold the very things we desire. And so when we're talking about expansion, it is literally, it is the end of self-doubt, because once you release that self-doubt, you will blow your own mind with what you become able to achieve and available to receive. Receivership always follows leadership. And so expansion is literally the act of self-leadership. It is the becoming the leader, the lighthouse that shines from within and is deeply anchored and grounded in power and is shining that power, that light out, so that everybody who is in a storm and needs you knows where to find you. It is what makes you visible. It is what allows you to claim your authority. And it is what makes you deeply compelling to the people who are meant to work with you. So expansion is really about fully stepping into that next level. So that of identity, essentially, of leadership, so that you can create those next level results. And it's not just mindset. Like, expansion is not something you shift in here in your belief system. Expansion is an embodiment. It's the embodiment of becoming that version of you in your nervous system, so that being bigger, essentially, and receiving more, being seen in your bigness, starts to feel really safe. That's the nervous system piece. Feeling really safe being the biggest version of you and being seen in that bigness and receiving in alignment with that bigness. The embodiment is also about kind of shifting how your brain is wired and bringing yourself out of all the conditioning. Quiet. Hold on. Let me close my door. Emmett, no, quiet. Damn dogs. Gotta love them, though. Okay. I don't know what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, embodiment. I was talking about the brain. So the nervous system is all about safety, feeling safe being seen, feeling safe being big, feeling safe receiving big. Then there's the brain part, like essentially reprogramming, rewiring the brain out of all that conditioning, out of all the limitation that we have in our confidence, in our clarity, in our certainty. Embodiment also is about your biochemistry. It's about helping you shift like your state, your mood, so that you can anchor into freedom, into trust, into joy. And finally, embodiment is about upgrading your energy, upgrading your vitality, so that you have all, like you have everything you need in you to stay motivated, to stay empowered, to stay inspired, no matter what. So you see, expansion goes way beyond just your thinking process, your beliefs. It really anchors in your body a completely different way of being and behaving and moving through the world. It is a paradigm shift that happens in the core of your being, in the fabric of your body. A lot of the work that's out there on nervous system focuses on bringing us back into regulation, which with good reason. All right, like I said, nervous system work is about safety. The other thing I didn't really talk about here is nervous system work is about capacity. And so when I talk about feeling safe being big, that means increasing your capacity to claim your bigness. When I talk about feeling safe being seen in your bigness, again, it's about increasing your capacity for recognition, for authority, for being seen as the expert and the genius that you are. And when I talk about feeling safe receiving more, we're talking about capacity, increasing your capacity to receive and hold more clients, more visibility, more recognition, more money, more responsibilities without feeling pressured, bogged down, overwhelmed, destabilized by more. So when people do nervous system work, they will focus on the safety and the regulation piece almost solely. And that's the foundation. But rarely will they focus on the expansion piece, the capacity piece, and essentially allowing you and showing you, transforming you from within so that you can stay safe, you can stay regulated in the expansion state with more. Here's the thing, regulation is about comfort. It's about bringing your nervous system back into comfort. It doesn't automatically help you grow, help you expand, help you create those next level results. And so that's what we're working on here. We're working on really an expansion. We're working on really essentially teaching the nervous system, teaching our brain, teaching our biochemistry, teaching our energy level, our vitality, our life force to feel really safe and really good with more. And that's capacity work. Expansion is essentially capacity work. I have found in my own experience and through my work with hundreds, maybe thousands at this point, of clients that growth, visibility, recognition, being able to execute powerfully, being able to like allow in the results you want, hold on to them, replicate them, really is determined by how expanded your nervous system, your brain, your biochemistry, and your energy level are. It's determined by your inner capacity. That's what defines the results you create. It defines your identity and it defines essentially your reality to some degree. So here's the thing, you're the conductor. You're the key that opens your own door, the door to your actualization. How contracted, how expanded you are defines how you show up. It defines your ability to be seen. It defines how well you execute and how well you choose the strategy that you're going to do. And it defines how well you are received and how easily you create results, how quickly you create results. It defines what you're available for and what you have the capacity to hold and to receive. And it also, by the way, which is worth saying, this expansion work, this capacity work also defines the quality of your receivership. I know most of us are interested with the quantity. We're interested in having more money, more clients, more visibility, more traction and momentum, and that's understandable. But it's also really valuable to be able to create more from this deep place of peace, with a sense of ease, with a sense of joy, with a sense of deep satisfaction, spaciousness, freedom. So this expansion work also makes sure that you're not sacrificing what matters most to you just to create more. I'm looking at my notes. So literally, your whole neurocircuitry is calibrated and in service to your current level. So if you're struggling right now, that's because you literally are wired for what you're experiencing. And essentially, your internal neurocircuitry is committed to keeping you there for whatever reason, because there feels like what you have decided internally, unconsciously, is safe to have, is safe to receive, is available to you. Here's the thing. In the end, there is no upper ceiling. You, my friend, are your own upper ceiling. In the end, everything you do works, unless you are in contraction, in which case nothing works. You are that key that unlocks the door to the results you seek. Who you are at 50K, at 100K, or at $1 million is different. It's just a different capacity, a different being, a different version of you. And it is meant to be that way. There's nothing wrong with that. Where things get rough is when we try to put 50K us, 50K you in a 500K reality. That won't work. Just like you can't put your 4-year-old self in your mother's high heels and expect any kind of graceful outcome. Like the 4-year-old in her mother's high heels is going to fall on her face. She doesn't have the capacity to fill the shoes. Literally, when you are trying to create more from a place of contraction, your feet aren't big enough to fill and fit that role. You don't have the capacity to create it, let alone hold it. And so you create a sense of overwhelm. You create a sense of not being enough. You create self-sabotage because it doesn't feel safe to have what you want. So when you're stuck at 50K, at 100K, 500K, literally doesn't matter where you are, could be 25K, I don't care. That amount is wired into you. It's wired into your nervous system, in your brain, in your biology, and it has become your identity as well as your reality. So you can't create that next level results and income from the version of you who created your current results and income. That's just not going to work. So if you want more, you have to become a bigger container. You have to grow your feet so you can fill the shoes. This is how you literally blow through your upper ceiling, by not trying to get ahead of where you are, but actually by embodying and expanding who you are so that you can create and hold the reality you desire. Expansion is always about becoming bigger so you can show up in a bigger way, so that you can be seen in a bigger way, and so that you can receive at a much bigger level. So part of what we want to do here is we want to honor where we are at, because you cannot create the future you desire by being at war with where you're at. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in execution and in basically being able to do the practices you need to do so that you're building that next level from a real place of centeredness, from a real place of permission, from a real place of trust. So that's the work of expansion. Essentially, really anchoring that trust and starting to ask yourself, where am I hiding out? Where am I keeping small? Where am I at war with what's happening? And trying to create that next level without first growing my feet, without making sure that I have the capacity to hold it. So we do the brain training, the nervous system work to anchor that safety, to anchor that trust, to anchor and calibrate ourselves for the results we want. That is the foundation. Now let's talk about expression. The second thing to focus on. So the first is you're focusing on becoming bigger, feeling deeply safe with more. That's first. And you're doing the work both on a nervous system level, on a brain level, like literally reconfiguring how you perceive the world and how you perceive yourself, and also on a biochemical as well as on an energetic and kind of like vitality level. Because capacity is about feeling like you have enough energy for it all. Once you have that down, then you can start to focus on expression. So when you marry expansion with expression, that's when that magic really starts to spark. That's when the fire starts to spread and something starts to happen. Now, here's the truth. Self-expression is often a happy ripple that naturally emerges from being anchored in the expanded state. When you are in expansion, when your identity is anchored in expansion, when your nervous system feels safe, when your brain is literally anchored in possibilities, when your biochemistry is anchored in peace and freedom and trust, when your energy feels expansive and bulletproof and ever growing, then out of those things, naturally, something in you starts to want to show up more authentically, with more authority, with more audacity, with more aliveness. So expression will naturally start to emerge from your degree of expansion. And the more expanded you become, the more self-expressed you also become. When you start to feel so comfortable in your own skin, so safe being you, so safe being seen and welcoming more from that place of spaciousness, of trust, of ease, you start to become magnetic, you start to become captivating, you start to become compelling to your ideal client, because your expansion starts to be shared in your expression. And so expression is both what you say, but it's how you show up as well. It's both like a sound and words and specific meaning, but it's also a presence. I mentioned presence earlier. It's a way of being. People just want to be in your space. When you have that level of expansion, of feeling comfortable in your own self, feeling at home with you, feeling clear with what your purpose is, and that you have a right to be here and to share it, that it is your birthright and your destiny, you have so much clarity, so much conviction around your work and your message, and you feel so unlocked in your own way of showing up, that's when people start to really want to work with you. They want you on their podcast. They want you on their summits and their conferences. They want you in their program to run like a workshop. Like they just want to be in your sphere. They want the empowerment, the safety, the sovereignty they sense in you. And they want to share that. They want to experience that for themselves. That's when you start to really create that momentum and you end up with a wait list and people are happy to pay you whatever you want to be paid. That's the foundation. That expression that arises from expansion is the foundation of recognition and authority. So the more you marry expansion with authentic self-expression, the more people see you and the more they want to work with you, because they want that certainty, that confidence, that freedom that you embody. So when I'm talking about expression that emerges out of essentially an expanded nervous system, brain, biochemistry, energy, I'm talking about two things. First, I'm talking about becoming fully expressed in your work. That means both having like absolute clarity and conviction around what you're doing and how much it's worth, like the value, how transformational it is, and having the ability to articulate that brilliance, that power, that uniqueness of the work that you do in a way that is really compelling to your ideal client. And so I refer to this kind of expression as your golden thread. Your golden thread is literally what sets you apart in the marketplace. It's what helps you be seen as a fresh new voice, as an authority in your field. It's your golden thread is what explains to people why they've struggled so damn much with other mentors, other healers, other coaches, other consultants. And yet what you do is different. And you have the thing that's been missing in everything else that they've done. And having the clarity of that is what is incredibly empowering for you. So for me, like I do a ton of strategy work. I do a ton of messaging work. I create programs with my clients for them. And we create that next level, highest level work that they're wanting to do. We create campaigns. We shift their content. We do all the stuff that is needed in business. But I'm not the only one who does that. What makes me unique, what makes me different, what makes me the answer, the key that unlocks the door is the very specific inner work and identity work that I do with my clients. The ability to not stay stuck, the ability to not procrastinate, the ability to not self-sabotage, the ability to shed all the doubt and all the wounding and all the traumas that have kept them small and hiding, rewiring their nervous system, training their brain, priming their brain for the results they want, upgrading their energy level, their vitality, their life force, shifting the biochemistry in their body so that they're literally a different version of themselves. And so results and execution comes easily. That is what makes me different. That's my golden thread, the expansion work. So you have to figure out what's your golden thread, and then you have to be willing to be audacious and bold and speak it. Speak how the rest of the industry is missing a primordial piece to transforming their clients, and you have that piece. And being able to sell it, to be fully expressed in your business from that place of authority, from that place of certainty, without fear, without shame, and without apology. That's true self-expression in your business. The second kind of expression that I'm referring to here is full and authentic self-expression. And so there's being really expressed in your business in terms of the work you do, and being articulate, being compelling, being clear, being bold, and having the confidence to hold that, right? That's the first piece. Here, I'm talking about kind of owning your own innate magic, your own journey, your own true personality, and sharing who you really are at core with your audience. When that magic, that presence with a big P is unlocked and you're fully visible in terms of how you show up without a mask, without bracing, without armoring, without putting on a front, what happens is that who you're meant to work with start to actually be able to see you. You get to share who you are unapologetically, and you give yourself full permission to be you and to succeed as you. And when you do that, when you have that full permission, it's like you start to give permission for those who are meant to support you to start seeing you. Permission is so powerful. When you are so at home with yourself, so comfortable being you, so full of yourself in all the best, most beautiful, most luscious way, you're basically showing up as the unique, vulnerable being that you are. You're totally free to be you. That unique presence, that unique personality literally just kind of flows out of you, emerges out of you naturally and effortlessly. And it is one of the most compelling energy that you can have in business and in love, actually. I had a conversation with a client yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I'm not sure. And it was actually, we weren't talking about business, we were talking about relationships. And we were talking about how when she ends up in a relationship, she erases herself to please the other. And we were kind of like looking at all these relationships that she's had, and the ones where the men adored her were the ones where she was not really into it. And I explained to her the reason they adored you is because you weren't into it. And because you weren't into it and you weren't trying to please them, you were allowing yourself to be you. And there's something, sorry, I have a hair on my lips. There's something extremely attractive, magnetic, compelling when we are the fullness of ourselves. So that's true in your life, in your love life, and in your business, in your income. When you have that flow, that inner glow, that sense of being at home with yourself and feeling really safe being you and sharing you, you're not editing yourself, you're not censoring yourself, you're not holding back. You're literally a mountain, unable to be shaken or pushed off center by somebody else's critical comments, somebody else's judgments. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop competing with others because you know that there's no competition, there's no comparison. You are playing a completely different game. You just love you and do you fully. And that love is like a magnet. The more you love you, the more you love how you are, the more people love you back. And they want to bask in your presence. So love is literally expansion expressed. When you're in expansion and you love who you are in that expanded state and you're not apologizing for it, you express it. This kind of self-expression is essentially about you fully claiming your right to be here, your right to be you, your right to take space, your right to be big. And when you do that, you have reached this new powerful level and you're just a badass. And people love badasses. They want to be in your environment. They want to be in your presence. So this is the work, right? Like the work is finding that inexhaustible ground of safety, rewiring the brain for expansion, rewiring the biochemistry and our vitality, our energy level for expansion, and literally falling in love with ourselves, falling in love with our work, and sharing that love. All right, let's see. Do I have anything else that I want to share? No, not for expression. Oh, yeah, I did put this in here. So, full self disclosure, I'm really good about being self expressed in my business. I'm really good at doing these kinds of trainings, about sharing how my work is different than everybody else, about really putting my golden thread, the nervous system, the expansion, the identity work forward. I have a harder time with the second one. I have a harder time. That's my edge that I'm continuously working on. Essentially, being totally transparent, being unarmored, being vulnerable. That's harder for me. It's what I'm continuously stepping into more and more. That sense of feeling truly safe being me and being seen as me. And the truth is, to unlock our growth, to unlock the extraordinary results we seek, we have to unlock the fullness of our self-expression. Because if not, it's like there's a kink in the hose and not like it's not flowing and no one can see us. Now, I've been lucky enough that I have extremely loyal clients. I do such amazing work that clients refer clients to me. I do really, I show up to some degree pretty regularly, but I don't have the visibility I know I could have if I unlock that last piece of my self expression. So that's my edge that I'm working with. So it doesn't matter where you're at. I have a really successful business and I'm still working on this shit. It's never ending to some degree or another. All right, so that's the piece on expression. Let's move on to the third thing to focus on. Last but not least, execution. So expansion is about becoming the version of you who can and who has the capacity, right? Expression is about being able to be seen and to share your bigness and to essentially talk your walk. Execution is actually about being able to walk your talk and to stay on track, even and especially when you're encountering a setback, to stay on track, to keep showing up whenever you start to feel deflated, whenever your energy crashes, whenever you start to doubt yourself, or you start to experience a dip in your energy level, in your motivation, or even in your results. And to not buy into that, to not allow those setbacks, those decrease, those dips, that depletion, that overwhelm to essentially like take you off the path of what you're doing. Execution in many ways is commitment. It's the ability to do what you must for your work so that no matter what's going on, more and more and more people have access to it, know about it. It's a decision you make in here that no matter what is happening, internally or externally, you are going to keep going. You're going to take who you are and what you do, and you're going to put it out there in the world, and you're going to keep doing it. Even if it feels like it's not working, even if you're not quite getting the results you want, none of that shit matter. You've made a decision, you've made a commitment. Execution is you decide on a roadmap, you decide on a campaign, a few super simple activities that you're going to do to move the needle. And you commit to those without second guessing yourself, without spinning, without sabotaging the process. By the way, all the shit, so much easier said than done, right? Like, that's why you need a mentor. Like in my luminescence program, when I designed my luminescence program, part of how I designed it is with a lot of support, but all these very simple practices so that when people were starting to get deflated, unmotivated, feel overwhelmed, start to freeze, start to doubt themselves, they literally knew exactly what to do these four things: to rewire their nervous system, retrain their brain, recalibrate their energy, shift their biochemistry so that they could get back into execution. This is what it was about. It was literally about allowing people to have a simple pathway to never get stuck, because that's the thing that holds us back the most. So, execution is deciding what you're going to do and then doing it. Doing it, moving the needle consistently without pivoting, without changing your mind, without making excuses, without allowing your mood or your state to define how you show up or whether you show up. Now, I want to talk about the two ways of expansion here. There's two kind of pathways with expansion. Just like there's two pathways with self-expression or expression, there's two pathways with execution. So execution is both external and internal. We've talked about the external piece a little bit here, like being able to skillfully perform a set of actions you have decided upon that support your growth, that support building momentum, that support the long-term growth of your business, essentially. But execution is also internal in being able to catch yourself, to stay aware of where you're at and what's happening inside you, so that when you're losing steam, when you're wobbling, when you're getting overwhelmed or starting to have doubts, you're feeling unmotivated, you can catch yourself, you can activate that self-leadership. You can go literally back into the expansion place and come back into expansion, reactivate expansion, re-anchor your identity in expansion so that you can skillfully walk yourself through whatever fear, whatever block, whatever self-sabotage, whatever felt sense of unworthiness has come up. And you can then stay inspired, stay motivated, stay on track. So when you're executing and you're really committed to the execution piece, you're deciding on a plan and a roadmap that is aligned, that is custom to you. Like when I work with clients, not everybody I work with has the exact same way of marketing their business or growing their audience or the same offer type. Everybody's different. So, which is why I really recommend programs that are not group programs, or at the very least have a strong one-on-one component so that you can really customize and have a process, a campaign that is tailor-made to you and is in complete alignment with you. Because without that alignment, it doesn't work. So you have the plan that you've decided, that you've committed to, that you follow day by day by day by day. But execution is also about anchoring trust. It's about trusting the process. It's about over and over and over doing the practices that help you re-anchor into that next level identity, so that whatever you are doing it from the right presence. Because remember, presence defines your productivity and it defines your profit. So when you're trusting the process, basically what you're saying is, no matter what I feel, no matter what my short-term results seem to be, I trust that this is working and I'm going to work the plan. When you trust the process and you work the plan, and you do that without wavering, at some point, the plan starts to work for you. Let me say it again. When you work the plan works for you. It might take a while, because that's one of the things we don't get to decide, unfortunately. We get to decide who we are, our identity, our level of expansion, our capacity. We get to define how we're going to show up, our self-expression. We get to define that we're going to consistently execute the plan. We get to make all these decisions, and we are in control of those. But how quickly the plan works, or exactly how it works, that we don't always get to define. And so the plan always works for you unless you stop working it. If you work the plan, at some point, the plan will work for you unless you stop working it. And so that's the self-leadership piece. The not pivoting, the not wobbling, the not changing our mind, the not second-guessing ourselves, the not sabotaging. And to trust the process, to anchor in our own leadership, to anchor identity in expansion, and to trust that if we keep working the plan's going to work for us at some point. And sometimes a lot more than we ever imagined. So execution is about knowing which actions to focus on. And second piece, not letting yourself be discouraged or distracted, and keeping on track. It's about spending time on the few things that are going to create the most momentum and the most results and are in complete alignment with you, rather than throwing spaghetti at the wall and staying stuck in this paradigm of being a consumer, of chasing shiny objects, of believing that there's a missing secret out there that you don't have. No, I have a plan. I trust a plan. I work the plan, and the plan works for me. Here's the thing. If you work the plan, you will dial in the plan. You will get better and better and better at it. Execution, in many ways, is mastery. It's both the internal execution of becoming that leader who can hold ourselves through anything, and the external execution of staying consistent and working our plan is what create mastery in our business. And when we have mastery of both of these kind of execution, then that's when we create extraordinary results. I work with a lot of soulful, purpose-driven entrepreneurs, leaders. And when they're stuck at a certain level of income, or when they're not as well known as they would like to be, when they're not enrolling all the clients they would like to have, it's always a combination of these three pieces. It's always a combination of their identity is not anchored in expansion enough. Their nervous system is still contracted. Their brain and their beliefs, their thinking is anchored in limitation. Their essentially biochemistry, their moods, their states, their feelings are contracted as well. They're anchored in doubt. They're anchored in overwhelm. They're anchored in fear, unworthiness. And their energy is not upgraded, not calibrated for the kind of results they want to be able to hold. So they feel overwhelmed. They feel frozen. They feel drained. So it's either expansion or it's self-expression. They're hiding, which to some degree is part of expansion too. They're hiding. They're not clear what it is that they really do, how to express it, how to have a clear message. They're hiding behind a mask, and they're not as self-expressed, authentic, vulnerable, true, real as they could be. And then the last piece is execution. They're not both executing the external plan, and they're not executing their self-leadership. So it's always a combination of all three, some more than others. And that's true for all of us. That's true for me. Whenever I'm seeing a dip in my business, whenever things are not flowing, whenever I end up with a few clients and I'm like, ooh, this isn't really my ideal client, I check on these three. And sure enough, there's a combination of them where I'm playing small. I'm not fully anchored in that expansion, in that expression, and in that execution. And so I'm attracting misalignment. I'm attracting incongruence in some ways. See, my clients, they're gifted, they're brilliant at what they do, but they either haven't fully claimed or calibrated themselves for that next level, for what they want, or they're sabotaging their visibility, their authority by playing small, by hiding out, by hoping people find them rather than being boldly and unapologetically out there and visible, or they're not working the plan. They either don't have a plan, they're not sure what to do, they're throwing spaghetti at the wall everywhere, hoping something sticks. They're wasting their time doing a bunch of shit that is totally out of alignment and that is overcomplicated, and they're not being consistent. And they're not executing their self-leadership. They're letting their moods, their thoughts, essentially take the lead. They're letting the 4-year-old get into the high heels and then wondering why it's not working. And it's the same for me. Whenever I'm in a plateau in my business, whenever something's not working, wherever I'm not growing, I check. And I work on these three things. So let's do a really quick recap of these three areas to focus on. The first one is expand your identity, your leadership, your capacity to receive by rewiring your nervous system to feel really safe being you, really safe being here, really safe being seen, being big, really safe receiving more. Then you train your brain out of the limitation, out of the beliefs that keep you small, out of the rules that you have put in place that say that you can't succeed as you. Then you shift your biochemistry, your moods, your states, your feeling towards like an anchored sense of spaciousness, of freedom, of empowerment. And you upgrade and calibrate your energy, your vitality, so that you can stay motivated, you can stay inspired, and you can hold more without getting overwhelmed or burned out. So that's one, expansion. Number two, you become fully self-expressed, both in your business in terms of having absolute clarity and conviction in the work you do, in your message, and being able to really claim that unique voice, that unique way that you transform the world and people and their lives, and also being able to unleash your unique personality, giving yourself full permission to show up and to succeed as you. And then the third is finally you decide on a course of action, essentially a visibility, marketing roadmap and plan. You get focused, you put blinders on, and you don't do anything else but that. And you become excellent at getting yourself out of the hole every time you fall. Every time you start to doubt yourself, every time you start to wobble, every time you start to feel disappointed, disenchanted, overwhelmed, frozen, you get really good at pulling yourself out of that by coming back into a lot of the practice and expansion. And so you stay with the plan without second guessing, without overcomplicating, without pivoting, without diluting your efforts by continuously changing your mind. And you work the plan until the plan works for you. And you decide and you commit, and that is it. So these are your 3 areas. You focus on those, you will blow your own mind with the kind of results you can create. You trust that process. So that's today's training. And if you're ready to create these extraordinary results, if you're ready to shift out of that sense of contraction and essentially diving into this journey of quantum expansion in partnership with your nervous system, with your brain, with your energy, then I want to invite you to do some deep work together. As I shared at the beginning, I have opened 2 spots in my luminescence program. And in many ways, my luminescence program is exactly this. It's literally like shifting your entire identity into expansion, giving you all the different pieces that you need to be able to really claim that self-leadership, to be literally a different version of yourself. And then we create the roadmap for the execution, for the self-expression, for essentially showing up and being who you need to be day in and day out in a very simple way so that you can create long-term momentum and results. It's a 6 months, one-on-one, deeply transformational program that completely rewires you, your life, and your business, and your wealth in many ways for that next level, both that next level internally of leadership and that next level in your financial frontier. It includes nervous system work to transcend all the fears, the wounds, the traumas, the conditioning that have kept you and your results small. It helps you rewire your money set points through the nervous system, essentially expanding your capacity for more. As I mentioned, it has a lot of what I call energy flow practices to recalibrate and upgrade your energy level, your biochemistry, to shift your vitality so that you can stay motivated, you can stay inspired, you can literally lead yourself from a place of empowerment. And then it includes 30 plus some expansion experiments. And these expansion experiments are literally small, short modules that include a complete shift of paradigm and perspective, as well as an exercise you can do to totally shift who you are being. It's going to retrain your brain and shift your identity, your belief system for more, expanding your entire identity to be a match for the next level you are destined for. So it's basically a perfect marriage of identity and strategy work. It really focuses on your presence and being productive from the right presence so that you can have the profits that you seek. And then there's all this piece too around making sure that your business, every piece and part of your business, is upgraded and elevated and in alignment with the extraordinary results you want to create. So that's my luminescence program. There's a bunch of pieces to it. I'm not going to go over it with you, but if it calls to you and you're curious about it, then there's a couple ways we can move forward. One of them is you and I can sit down for 20-25 minutes in an enrollment call for free, and I can tell you more about it and answer all your questions and make sure it's a fit for you. And if it isn't a fit for you, I can figure out which of my program is a fit for you so that we can do that deep work together. All my programs literally have one-on-one work and deep nervous system work, as well as strategy work. So you're always working on identity and strategy. It's just in terms of how many one-on-ones, how much access to me you get in between sessions, like the depth of the work changes and your access to me changes. but each of my program is absolutely transformational. So we can do a 25-minute enrollment call, or if you've never worked with me before and you're curious about this work and you're not quite sure you want to commit to working with me yet, you want to experience this work, you want to experience working with me and see how that feels for you, then I offer a 90-minute one-on-one intensive, call it the Wired for Wealth Intensive. It's 55% off for people who are new to me, and you can book that. And basically, during this 90-minute intensive, we're going to explore and kind of figure out exactly what are the nervous system wounds, the traumas, the blocks that are holding you back. And then I'm going to teach you my proprietary hatching process that I only teach face-to-face mainly, so that you know exactly how to bring yourself out of contraction and back into that sense of flow and expansion in every area of your life and business. And then if you want to continue to work together, I will give you a couple different options to fit your goals and your budget. Maybe it's luminescence, which is kind of like what I'm focusing on right now. But maybe it's one of my other programs too, and that's okay. So together during this session, we're going to kind of unlock the power of your nervous system and your brain to bring about a whole new way of being, of creating, of receiving, of having more in your life and in your business in a way that feels really nourishing and satisfying to all of you, not just your bank account, but also your heart. So right now I'm offering 2 to 3 of those intensives a month at that 55% discount. And that's what I'm doing right now. That could change based on availability. The busier I get, the less I will have those as an option. So use them. If you haven't had a session with me like that, please do it. It's a very, very affordable rate. It's an incredibly low level of commitment, and it's absolutely life-changing. I've had people say to me that 90-minute with me has shifted more for them than an entire year working with someone else. So if you have not experienced this work, please book that session while I'm still offering them. And you can find the link to both of those in the description of this video, by the way, this training. And so finally, I'm just going to leave you with this invitation to always remember that you have everything you need to succeed inside of you. You, my friend, are the most powerful and peaceful force in your life and in your business. Your nervous system, your brain, your neurocircuitry is literally the path to heal your past, but it's also the key to unlock your potential and the future that's possible for you. It's all inside you. The pathway, the key, you are it. And I would love to be your guide on this journey of expansion, if you will let me. All right, that's what I have. I hope today's training was useful. I'm sending you lots of love, hoping you have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye, folks.